And something I'm really curious about. Can you tell us about perhaps an investment you made in some sort of climate-related technology or company that didn't go well, and what you learned from that?
Yeah, well, we wrote a whole chapter on this, Michael. This is, when you look at Clean Tech 1.0, right? There was a lot of investments that maybe I'll rattle a few lessons learned. One of them is you're going to need a lot more capital than you expect, right? And I think what you see about the most successful companies that made it through that wave is that they formed really good partnerships with both larger companies as well as the early stage venture capital ecosystem. And so around the table, QuantumScape is a great example of this, where Volkswagen, right, large company partnered with early stage investors to really take that company through its motion. So John Doerr always likes to say, you're always raising capital to build these kinds of companies. The other piece that we learned is that at the end of the day, you really are trying to win on cost and then performance as well too, right? Cost and performance, right? People aren't going to pick the clean green thing because it makes them feel good, right? That may reach 5 to 10% of the population. But if you really want to reach the world, it's got to be cheaper and perform better, right? I think this is why you see the electrification of vehicles going well, is because not only are they performing really well, they're working their way down the cost curve. And when you think of total cost of ownership, it's getting really competitive. When you look at electricity and it's just the momentum that's happening behind solar and wind, that's not philanthropy. That's actually project financing at work. These are banks deploying that kind of energy because it can make them money. And that really is credit to the past, 20, 30, 40 years of taking the invention that happened at Bell Labs, which would have cost, I think, on the order of 1.5 million to put solar panels on a roof, to today that's around 20 or 30,000, right? The more we can move things down this cost curve, the more likely these products get deployed. And so when we spend time with companies, it's really looking at that curve and how they're going to work their way down it. And it also helps with making some investment decisions as well too, because there's some technologies that won't make it down the cost curve. And so you may not take a bet there, and you may pick one that might look more expensive now, but you can actually see how the model works its way down in the future to being really competitive. So those are some lessons and things we've learned.